Start the recording again. Okay. Now I'll share again. Sorry, we're still not technical wizards yet. There we go.
Okay, so the Intuitive Practitioner program is officially starting up again with just the first two classes. So it will be like a level 1 and a level 2. So if you take the first 4 classes, you are certified in level 1. And then, so the first 2 are on the docket right now for this Thursday, next Thursday. And then I think the following two
Following two
Thursdays is
Thursdays.
harness
Yep.
intuition.
Yep.
So, we just kind of continuously expand and grow. And then, there's also development circles, which I think Linda has occasionally taken part in as well. Maybe the Dream Circle, Linda, but a couple things.
No,
Just been in Stories Mondays, I think.
once. I did that once.
Once, okay. So yeah, so this is a good, a good place to start. And as long as you are, I think we find people have the most success if they're a little bit familiar with meditation. Even if you're not, as we do the meditations, they're completely guided. What we're going to do today. So I think you'll find you'll easily kind of slip into that kind of transcendent state where you're tapping into your intuition. I think you'll find you're doing it. And I think Darlene has been in other classes as well. So in the past. So you want to move ahead with them?
I do. I just want to really just real quickly, and especially since we have a small group. So like I said, at any point you guys want to interrupt anything except for during meditation. But I just also wanted to kind of touch quickly on, the benefits of this. So the activating psychic awareness doesn't necessarily mean you have to do professional readings like Diana does, or like I try and do. But, it can be a benefit to you in your everyday life. So some of these skills are things that you're going to find, whether it's your job in the physical world, whether it's sometimes even cooking, doing things day to day, it's actually very beneficial. So we wanted to start out with a quick overview of what we wanted to do today, which is why I said we were already running behind. So we're going to have, this is the overview, then we're going to have a quick icebreaker activity. Then Diana is going to take us in a meditation. And do you guys by any chance, have pen and paper near you anywhere? Or can you? Good, okay. Because we're going to launch right straight from that meditation into a discussion on the clairs. So, and then when we're done with that, we're going to go back and visit what you got in the meditation and kind of, look at the clairs and see how it all comes together for you. Okay. And then Diana's going to do an overview on the process of connecting. And then I have a final intuition exercise for us. And then we'll finish up with any questions. And Diana will give you homework, I think. Are you giving them homework?
Yeah, there's some handouts that would be.
Okay. So rather than, we didn't know how many people were going to show up for this class since there's only 2, and we kind of introduced ourselves already, but what we thought we'd do, it was a bit of an icebreaker rather than going around the room, making people introduce themselves and talk about themselves. But with just the 2 of you here right now, you probably could do that. But I know when you have a few people, it does get a little unnerving when you get, called on to introduce yourself. So I have a picture here, a bunch of pictures here. And what we wanted you to do is kind of tune into your intuition. So I want you to just take a minute and take a look at these 5 doors. Take a deep breath, kind of look at it and see which one calls you. Oh, I'm echoing again. Just gonna give you a minute to take a look at them. Everybody pick one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to stop the share real quick just so we can see you. And let's go around and talk about what door you picked and how it made you feel and why you picked that door. So Linda, let's start with you.
I picked number 5.
Okay. And why, Linda?
It looked warm, inviting. Not that the rest of them didn't, but that was just a little bit more inviting. Come inside.
Come in and join us. Come in and join us. I like that. Darlene, how about you?
I picked number 2. and I just really liked how it looked. And I don't know, I just couldn't take my eyes off it.
Was it the yellow door?
Yes.
Want
Okay.
me to share again?
Yeah, share once again. See. It's good to intuitively be able to say what it was that drew you to it, you
Yeah.
know. Try to, is there an emotion with it? Is there with the yellow door?
I don't know. It's just, I guess what I'll use, what she did was, it's inviting. It just
Warm and inviting.
feels like it would be a nice place, comfortable, more like serene and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Serene.
Do you
Welcoming.
like the color yellow, darling?
Not really.
No, really?
Yeah, which is unusual for me to choose the color yellow, but I really do
Yeah.
like it.
So the yellow again, right? The yellow is good for our solar plexus, and at some point, if we talk about the chakras, we'll get into that. But it is yellow is actually very warm and inviting, and your solar plexus is kind of the first place you connect with other people around you. So I think it is kind of appropriate. Yeah. Diana, how about you? Which one did you
I
get drawn
like
to?
the green because I like all the greenery and the ivy around it. It just feels like life and the heart. Like this, there would be a secret garden in there. And the green, I guess being heart chakra, green color of the heart chakra kind of that attracted me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of why I went with the different colors, but I like the green too. But green's always been one of my favorites, um, and I think the green is probably part of what drew Linda a little bit because there's a lot of that green in there too. But that brown is a very warm color too. So I think, and both of you, both Linda and Darlene, you went for the doors that had the windows on it, and I think that really speaks a lot too, right? So it's about opening up and actually showing who you are, right? The rest of the doors you can't really see, so you're heading towards the ones where you can kind of see in and see out, and that's pretty neat.
So what's on the other side of them?
I don't actually know. I think there's some homemade food hanging out in there. What do you think's on the other side? What do you think's on the other side of yours, Linda?
A nice fireplace.
Nice fireplace. Okay. So she is definitely looking for the warm and inviting. Darlene, what do you think's on the other side of the yellow?
Just a really nice living room, not modern, but not too old fashioned, cut something in between.
Okay.
Like a
Wonderful.
Victorian or yeah.
Yeah, I like that too. And that yellow one has some character to it too. It's not
It
the
does.
other.
I think so too.
Yeah, the others are a little bit newer. That's got a little bit of character, like somebody's loved it and put some time into it. Did Sherry answer you, Diana?
No.
Okay. Well, it's up to you. We've made up time now. So do you want to go into do you want to go into our meditation?
I can try to call her. Yeah, and yeah, there's a couple of oh,
Sorry, girls.
hang on,
I just hate to have somebody jump in the middle of the meditation, so I just wanted to see if she's going to be joining us or not. One of the problems with Zoom that I found is people don't seem to worry as much about being on time. I think it's because we're virtual. You girls were good. You were right on time.
I put an alert on my phone, otherwise I would have forgotten.
I have to do that all the time too, Darlene. That's one of my biggest fears. You'd think being psychic that I'd sit right up and go, yep, no, it's time. No. I have these nightmares about forgetting things, so I always have to set my little phone alarm. All right. Now I went all the way back through. So while we're waiting, why don't you let me know, Darlene, what are you looking to get from this class? Since we have
Well, it just it sounded intriguing. I didn't know if it will help me, like, feel my daughter around, or
You lost a daughter.
just
Yeah. And how
something
long
to
ago was
connect
that,
with
Darlene?
her. 11 years yet today,
Okay.
yesterday and today. She actually died on the 3rd, but the coroner didn't come till the 4th. So
Nice. So yeah, that's hopefully will help. Do you feel her regularly?
I do not. My granddaughter, her daughter, feels her all the time.
Okay. So yeah.
So
Oh,
and I
your
guess
daughter is what's her name?
Danielle, remember?
Danielle. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you. There we go. Now I got it.
yeah.
Click, 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 click. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay. And
Hopefully
you
will help.
guys came to a message
And I
circle.
do think that is a lot of what happens too, right? Is we block a lot of this stuff, right? Because you're always going to have that connection as a mother. So she is a
Right.
part of who you are. So yeah, it's kind of working through letting some of those walls down and opening up. How about you, Linda? What do you got? What are you thinking?
What drew me to this class?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I am pretty intuitive, but I never really labeled it much like that. And so the more I've been coming to these classes, I am learning so much more about the spiritual realm of it, and just instead of it's all being just me. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So and I just feel a real strong pull to live a much more spiritual life than I always have lived a very spiritual life, but never really have labeled it as such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives you kind of that confirmation that there is something beyond us. And I remember the first time that because I had lost, as Darlene knows too, I had lost my son Jamie, which is what started me on this path when he was 5. Um, he was sledding down the driveway and went into the path of a truck. And to pull myself out of that, I started looking into, well, it's okay. There's probably a beyond, but I don't really know. And I might have called myself not an atheist, but an agnostic. Like, I
Agnostic.
don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. And it became very, very important to know, what is going on here and where did he go? Some people would say, oh, I saw him with Jesus. He was on Jesus's lap. Somebody who had a real fundamentalist point of view, or, more Jesus oriented as they were growing up. And somebody else would say, I saw him walking with your grandfather. And I was like, you did? How did you see him? But, how did you do that? Like, of course, that's what drew me to finding a psychic medium that I could trust, that was accurate. And so that's kind of how I got in. I found George Anderson originally, and yeah, so that was 1994, 95.
Wow.
Jamie passed away, and so I think I got into some coursework actually after experimenting with just going to see a medium, and I realized, like, oh my God, this stuff is real. And I went to Omega for my first course, and I was just remembering that today. She said, and it ended up being Elaine Thomas, who's my teacher, who was the main teacher. Later, I joined her school at Fellowships of the Spirit in Lilydale, and it was Elaine who would say, okay, now. We've meditated. Now turn to the person next to you and give them a message. Like, what? What? A message?
Yeah. We're not going to make you do that.
I don't.
Oh,
I
good.
don't do that. I just, like, I don't do. But she was absolutely right. You just didn't. It was coming in. You just didn't know where it was coming in. So this whole beginning process is like that practice with, like, there's something there, but I thought I was just making it up, so I pushed it away. And that was what was happening
Yeah.
for me when I finally had a huge hit with someone. Um, we were in a circle. We were practicing together in a circle. And I said, as a protocol, may I come to you? We always say in the spiritualist tradition, may I come to you? and it was someone who looked like a college student. And so I'm seeing an image of stairs, like steep, steep stairs. And there she is. Okay. So I'll finish the story and then we can start with our guided meditation. And I said, and the guy who's coaching me says, ask for more, like have the image come in a little stronger, which you can do. And I was like, oh, okay, now we're at Hartwood College. These are like really, really steep stairs. And I was like, I know exactly which stairs these are. And she's carrying a load of heavy books, right? And there's somebody standing next to her. So I was like, oh, are you in college? And she goes, no. And my heart sank. I'm like, oh, I'm wrong. I don't know. He goes, no, stick with it. Stick with the image. Stick with it. She's on the steps. I said, there's somebody next to you. Passing books back and forth, you're sharing, she's helping you with this heavy load. And then I kept hearing 12-step program, 12-step program, 12-step program over and over and over again. And I was like, all right, I don't know, it's probably just me, but are you in a 12-step program? And she goes, yeah. And her face went white. Now, there's no reason for me to know that at the time. There was no reason for me to know that about her. She looked like a college student, long hair, very clearly dressed like a college student. And, so that was like, so when we finished with that, and I was like, I was just like, I couldn't even say, like, it wasn't until I was going home, like, well, what's the message? What's the message? And we teach you today, get the message from the image. There's more. If you got a sound, if you got a word, if you got a symbol, there's a message. Ask what's the message. So it wasn't until I got home, like, you idiot, it's as clear as day. She's halfway through the 12-step program. She's halfway up the steps. She has somebody, a close friend, and now I know it probably was a sponsor. I wouldn't have known that at the time because I didn't know about the 12-step program at that younger age, who was helping her with the heavy load. This is indeed a heavy load. It's a message of encouragement. We always practice in Development Circle, the message of encouragement of some kind is like, look, you're halfway through. Keep at it. You have somebody sharing the heavy load. And there's light at the end of the tunnel. You're getting there, And so, but I remember on the way home, I was going to myself. I was going like, whoa, I'm driving by myself. I think I had a cell phone even back then.
Remember those moments?
And I
Wow.
was telling my sister, I was just going, whoa, nothing looks the same. Nothing looks the same. There's a God. It gave me that certainly, like, boy, I did not know anything about her, but like you said, it gave me that confidence that there was a connection.
There's something else there, yeah.
Something outside of ourselves, whatever you want to call it.
Energies that are there to help us. And that's, I think, the most important thing you can take from this. So like I said, even if you don't end up deciding that you want a message for other people, one of the most important things you can do is develop that connection yourself. Like you said, Darlene, right? That ability to know for yourself and get your answers.
I had not been challenged to say, now give a message to someone else.
Okay. Diana might be making you do messages tonight. I might have lied.
You will be. Because that's the only way for sure. Like you could keep doubting yourself. Well, I saw a red rubber ball. And to me that means, and you're getting messages for yourself. And it's not until you start to do
your first one for somebody else. Yeah.
And they go into tears because you hit on something authentic in their life that like, oh, you mean that was real?
Are we doing that with the angel bucket? Are we doing that with the angel bucket meditation?
Yeah, we are doing that now.
Okay. So before we have her launch into this, and Sherry, since you just joined, here's what we're gonna assign them somebody? Is that what we're planning on doing this time? I want. Or are we letting them get their own message? That's what I thought, they were getting their own message.
I want them in this one to get their own message. Yeah.
Okay. So next week we'll probably be doing some messaging. I thought I was telling you the truth. I didn't think you had to worry about it tonight. So tonight is more about tuning in on your own, unless you get something for someone else, which you might.
Well, the second one later, you probably will be getting somebody. So we'll see.
Well, the one that I've got is theirs too. We're not doing another exercise.
Oh, that's next time.
It's next week. She's very confused. We're two-parters. So what I want you to do, and like I said, keep an open mind because there's no saying that what you receive during this meditation might not be a message for someone else.
Well, yeah,
A lot of
because
times you do see that happen, right? Where something you think might be yours, and when you go to talk about it, somebody may go, no, you know what, that sounds familiar to me. So what I want you to do, you got your pen and paper. Sherry, do you have pen and paper? Sherry, you're on mute. I can't hear you. What I want you to do is just relax. Nobody is going to be pushing you into anything. I just want you to relax. Listen to Diana's meditation. When we're done with it, take a couple minutes to write down what you get. Anything that you get. When I first started, all I used to get was the color purple. So write down what you get, just like we just did with the doors. Kind of read into it. So if you do get just the color purple, how does it make you feel? Kind of go into it that way, right? Not putting any pressure on yourself. You got to see a movie or you got to hear a voice or it's got to be anything like that. Just relax, let come what comes. We're done, write it down, and then we're going to launch into the Polaris. And then when that's done, we'll have a discussion on what you got. Okay?
I'm going to play a little music. I always find it's easier to relax. So usually when you're with me, you're getting music. So just double checking if I had chosen a piece when I did this before, any particular one.
Better find a piece, young lady. We're running late now. Here we go.
And let me just plug in my laptop here because it's not initialized. Okay, so make sure your phone's on silent or do not disturb. Anything that would distract you is put away. And you can just begin by focusing on your breathing. Take a nice deep breath. And on the exhale, release all preconceived notions, all the discussion, all the little thoughts and to-dos going around in your head. Take another couple very, very deep breath. Hold it for a moment at the top. Let all the busyness of the day slide right off your shoulders. Nothing you need to do right now. And for speaking of phone, for the next few breaths, purposely make your inhales and exhales the same length. Very important call from Spam Risk. Let me put this out of the room. Okay, so just for a moment, breathe in like for the count of 4 and breathe out for a count of 4 at your own pace. If the exhale is longer, you can make it 8. You can just stick with that little breathing pattern for a few moments, whatever works for you on that. And any time where you notice yourself evaluating what's going on or having thoughts from the day come back in, just notice them and breathe them out and watch them float away like thought bubbles floating off. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So as if you're just watching them float off and maybe even counting the thought bubbles as they float off and get carried away with a breeze and pop in the light of the sun in the heat of the day. Almost like there's thought bubbles, like words in a cartoon floating off. You don't even need to know what words are in there, just watch them float off. They're popping over the heads of the people, any people that you would like to wish a little serenity right now. Anybody that you would also like to share the peace and serenity of this meditation. And now with great joy you watch as these magic little bubbles are just bursting with the light of the sun and raining down over any of those you're concerned about, anybody who could use a little healing today. Okay, and breathe in now just the light of the sun, as if we're going to make the sun into source energy, that divine energy. Beautiful day. Might find yourself on a beach, and we're imagining that that sun is divine energy, whatever is divine for you. You could continue that counting if you'd like, so that as you count, you're counting bubbles and they're being filled. You're filling yourself, and thereby filling the thought bubbles on the exhale with that beautiful, healing, rejuvenating light from source energy as you connect to that very powerful light. Bringing that sense of peace and healing. And as you continue to do that, at your own pace, it's your process. Feel your head, shoulders, and face grow so heavy as you relax further and further. With every passing breath and each passing moment, you go deeper and deeper into that space of light that is in the center of your being and transcends all time and all space. And with every thought you have and any sound you hear, allow yourself to relax further and further. And as you're sending those thought bubbles out, you notice that your legs, your knees, hips, ankles, and feet relax and grow heavy. If there's any remaining sources of tension, maybe in the shoulders, you notice, let it go out with the out breath as you've been filling yourself with rejuvenating and relaxing energy from that beautiful source energy. If there's any little sources of tension, let them go, give them back up to that source energy. Notice how they go back up to that bright light of the sun, and remember how you're visualizing them. Any energy, negative energy, thoughts, worries, off into the sun. And you begin to feel that you have sunglasses on, it's so bright. You can feel a low chair beneath you. You may have already been on that chair on a beach. You're watching the waves come in, crashing on the beach. You might be hearing them, and you find yourself watching birds soaring overhead. There may be children playing in the distance in this beautiful sacred spot. And you look down at your feet and notice what you're wearing on your feet. just accept the first thing you get, and if there's shoes, you kick them off and dig your toes in the sand. And as you inhale, the waves come toward you. When you exhale, the waves go out. And if there's any other source of stiffness, notice it. You have become the noticer of any physical feelings, the observer. You are in the true self where you're observing what's happening with the physical. And the next time you breathe out, you breathe the pain or the tension out with the wave. Inhale, bring the ocean toward you. Exhale, let the tension go with the wave. And as those waves come in, a wave of light is accompanying the wave in the water. The wave of light goes right over your head. And as it goes out, any other little worries are going out to the ocean now. And as you're allowing this very benevolent process to go on, you notice the sun now is glowing red and pulsing in a magical way just before sunset. And you can see your hand as you hold your hand up, reflecting all the colors in that beautiful sun, the rays of light coming from the sun. And you accept and notice that you're fully open and ready for a recharge of energy in your physical system. And while that's happening, you look to your right and see an old bucket halfway buried in the sand. And somebody maybe left it, and you contemplate, maybe there were children playing there. And even though it's an old bucket, it's glowing with light. And the sand drops out of the bucket as it rises, making a sparkling veil of sand in the air. And behind that veil, you can just see someone waving at you, walking towards you on the beach. Accept whoever you see. It might be someone who has passed away, a departed loved one. It might be someone you don't know now, who is just appearing now as a spirit guide for you. The wind is blowing in their hair. And they're inviting you to put anything else that has been bothering you recently into that bucket. So you invite them to sit down next to you and help you with this process, having fun dumping wet sand, any worries about money, about career, about home, all piling it into the bucket. And they're watching you and encouraging you to put any concerns you have about your body or your health into the bucket. Any conflicts with anyone into the bucket. And as little memories come up, just notice them. Remember, you're observing the memories as a true self version of you. It might be a little piece of paper, so crumple that up. Toss them into the bucket, top it with the wet sand to weigh it down. Any fears you have about what other people think of you, fears about the future, hurt feelings, or anger you may have. And the bucket is becoming so full, your spirit guide points at it to make room for any other concerns or worry that are current for you. Just accept how you visualize this. Hear the paper crumpling. Whatever you want to crumple up is being thrown in there. Concerns about taxes, anything. And you feel yourself getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And this person, this spirit guide, motions for you to stop now, and somebody else is jogging by who then just smiles at you joyfully, picks up that bucket and tosses it into the ocean as far as they can, way out. And it magically goes even farther than you thought it might have gone. Gets absorbed into the ocean, and some evaporates into rays of light, disappears into the sun. And what a feeling of lightness of being you've now given over all the worries and concerns to the universe, to let your manager handle them or solve them. You've got spiritual help with those pieces you just put in there. And you are now open to any new solution that happens to show up as an image or a message today, or next week, or development circle. And you spot your spirit guide thinking they're finished, starting to walk back down the beach from which they came, and you catch them for a moment and invite them to stay. And you say to your spirit guide, thank you for your help, as you watch them plop down in the chair. I am open and ready to receive. I am open and ready to receive. And every time a wave goes out, you're drawn to the ocean, a new message comes to you. It might be written in the sand as the wave goes out. And you look across at the spirit guide and repeat any words you saw written in the sand. And now they're pointing up to the sky because there's a bird flying or circling overhead, carrying a ribbon that has a word on it. Notice what type of bird it is, first of all. The ribbon is so big that it is long enough to go across your hair, and you feel it across your hair. Pull it down. Feel the silky nature and what the word is. Notice what color it's written in. And just say thank you when you notice the word or hear the word. And repeat those words and images to the spirit guide or the friend or loved one who's there. You may like to write down a word or two in your notebook, saying them a couple of times to the spirit guide who's across from you. And you stand and rise, fold that ribbon up, put it in your pocket, and the word in the sand you recall as you say, thank you for coming, thank you for the message today, thank you for helping me. And you bow and say, until we meet again, and you're assured that they will be there whenever you need them. But you need to ask if there's advice needed, guidance, or a life direction question. They will always be there. Look into their eyes one last time, see the wind blowing in their hair as they make their way back down the beach, back until they disappear in the distance. When you come, feel the seat beneath you, know that you're back in the seat in which you started, remembering everything, remembering the ribbon, remembering the word in the sand, remembering what was on your feet, putting your shoes back on. Rub your fingers together, bring yourself back to the room. Wide awake at your own pace, come back, pick up your pen, take a deep breath for energy, blow it out, and start writing a couple of things of what you are receiving so that you don't forget and you honor whatever it is that you just received. The process is real. Wide awake, wide awake. Okay. Welcome to Josie, who is entering. Josie, we just finished a guided meditation and we're going to talk about it. You'll get to do it, when you see the recording. So, but now you'll hear what people were receiving from that. If we could share for a quick moment. We want to do the slideshow first. So I think we'll work on, Renee's going to present the clairs, right? All of
Yeah,
our
and then we're going to
sensings,
talk. So has everybody had a chance to write everything down? Did you
made
have a
a few
chance?
notes, because as you see her presentation, you'll be like, oh, I think that was a channel that opened for me. So we're talking about the
Right.
channels and the ways in which we receive,
And then we'll have the discussion
intuitively
after. Yeah.
received messages. So
Yep.
and that-
Sherry, are you good? I don't know if she's going to
Sherry,
answer.
are you back?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you get everything written down?
I've got most of it written down.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to start talking about the clairs. Let me do a little share here. And I've got a cat meowing in the background, so excuse me on that one. So, telepathy. Telepathy is basically how all of this works, right? Telepathy is the communication of thoughts or ideas by means other than known senses, right? Now, we have physical senses. We have our eyes, we have our ears, we have our mouth, right? We touch, we feel. You know, if you never noticed, the best experiences in the physical world that you have are those where you use as many of your senses as possible. The more senses you bring into an experience, the better it is. Now, the clairs that we're going to be looking at, the clairs are our spiritual senses. It's how we receive information from our loved ones in spirit. It's how we receive information from our higher selves. It's how we receive information from each other telepathically. And spiritual senses work a lot like our physical senses. It's just that we're not physically seeing something, right? We're experiencing, and everybody's got what I call a psychic blueprint. We all have a little bit of all of these that we're going to be looking at, but we have them in different combinations. So while we're looking at these, you may find that you resonate a little bit stronger with one and a little bit less with other. And as we're looking at some of the things that are clues that this is one of your stronger clairs, you may say, well, that's me. No, that's not me. Just keep in mind that everybody's got these. And again, you can work on various clairs too. And that's some of the things that we'll be doing through this first set of classes, is looking at ways to kind of increase this. So the first time, this is stuff that's been known since ancient times, right? But the terms clairs, so when we talk about the clairs, that started to be used right around the late 1800s, and it started with the spiritualism, the New Age movement. There are 6 that we're going to look at today, 6 of these clairs. Out of those 6, there's 4 real main ones. I say, again, there's going to be people who argue with me, and if you look it up on the internet, you can get anywhere up to 11. But they all kind of relate to these 4, I think, right? Clairvoyance, the one we're looking at with the beautiful eye that you've been staring at while I've been chatting away, is the clear sight. So clair is French for clear, voir for to see. So clairvoyance is about clear sight. And that's the one that gets, it's always the one that everybody wants. Right, that you see it on television. You see the mediums that see actual figures. You see people who actually get movies in their heads and have visions. Now, you also hear it referred to as the third eye, and a lot of times when we concentrate, we'll talk about the third eye. But the third eye is really a little bit broader. It's about seeing things beyond what we see in the physical world. So all of you that are here have an open third eye. As a matter of fact, clairvoyance itself, sometimes you'll see it used to describe a lot of these spiritual senses, and it won't be just concentrating on the eyes. But somebody who has clairvoyance, right, who's a very strong visual person, this may be the way that they receive their telepathic messages. So some of the ways that you may find that you're more visual, you have a very active dream life, very strong visions in dreams. You spend a lot of your days daydreaming. Are you really imaginative? You see colors, shapes, objects, or pictures when you close your eyes. When you close your eyes to go to sleep, or in a meditation. So like what we just came out of, if it was really easy for you to picture what Diana was voicing, clairvoyance may be something that's strong for you. Sparkly lights. Does anybody see sparkly lights occasionally, whether it's at night, when you just close your eyes to meditate? Do you ever just see little sparkles floating around? Movement out of the corner of your eye. Another thing that happens with clairvoyance, tend to use the words I see in conversation quite a bit. So pay attention to that when you're trying to explain something to somebody. If you see that you say I see, if you see that I say I see an awful lot, then clairvoyance may be one of your stronger clairs. Next one, clairaudience, one of my favorites.
Let me just add one little thing, is that I include under also seeing symbols,
Metaphors.
like the symbols and metaphors under clairvoyance. And I would say my gift first opened up almost entirely through symbols and metaphors. Symbols that I was like, okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? And then expanded to eventually clairaudience. And so you may find one of these channels stronger than the other.
The other, yeah. Yeah. And again, if you pay attention to some of them, you'll get that quicker, right? Like I said, if you're very visual,
they start coming in.
Yeah.
And you guys, I muted you, so if you have a comment at any point, feel free
just jump right in.
Just unmute yourself, because we were getting a little feedback sometimes on. Yeah, so just unmute yourself if you want to. It's so few people that I think it's okay for us to.
Yes, it is.
Question or a comment to
it is. Just jump right in and interrupt, just like I just did with Diana. Clairaudience, again, clair, French for clear. Audience is the act of hearing. That's why we got the big ear. Hearing voices, been around for a really long time. Socrates, the famous Greek philosopher, spoke of being directed by an inner voice of wisdom. So when you hear us talking about inner voices, that's clairaudience. In addition to outer voices, right? And this happens with all of the clairs. If we back up to clairvoyance, there are people who literally will have visions right in front of them, people who can see spirit right in front of them, just the same way they see you and I. Most of us have it in inner seeing, and the same thing with hearing. You know, clairaudience is one of my stronger gifts. I will hear voices outside occasionally. More often than not, I hear them inside. If you're a listener more than a talker, which really isn't me, but that's okay. You often talk to plants, animals, Sherry. You talk to your plants, you talk to your animals, and you feel like they're communicating back with you. If you've ever felt like you've received telepathic information from someone, has anybody ever been home alone and heard someone call their name? That's always one of the biggest things. Sometimes it's people who are very much still here that we may hear. But again, remember, this is telepathy, so we can work on the physical level just as much as we can work on the people in spirit. How about when you give advice and you forget completely what you said afterwards and go, where the heck did that come from? Happens a lot when we do messaging, right, Diana? Where you're like, where'd that come from? That just kind of came through. Anybody get ringing in their ears? Does anybody have ringing ears?
I have tinnitus.
Okay. That is actually often a sign. And again, Sherry brought up a good point. If this is something that occurs, you might want to get it checked out with a doctor first, just to be sure that there isn't a physical reason for it. But it is a very strong sign of clairaudience also. It's just that whatever you're hearing is beyond your vibrational understanding, but you're picking up on something that's outside of the regular physical realm.
Right.
My ears are ringing all the time.
Yep, mine do too.
Ringing or buzzing. Okay. And sometimes your ears may feel like they do when you're on an airplane, right? When they're getting ready to pop. And again, if you find yourself when you're having conversations saying, I hear, very often, right? I hear you saying, I hear that you feel this way. That may be a sign that clairaudience is one of your stronger. Claris.
Also, a song coming in out of nowhere. So a lot of my guided meditations, I'm like, did you hear a song?
Yeah.
And the words to the song are quite often are part of the message. We find all the time in Development Circle, the words of the song that you remember, just the piece of the song that you remember, is a part of.
Even if you don't remember, it might still be, because I tend to wake up to songs sometimes and going, okay, I got to Google what those lyrics are, because I can't, I got it going, I just can't get it.
What are the lyrics, just in case there's a message for me? Yeah.
Claircognizance. Claircognizance is knowing. Claircognizance is knowing of an event, an occurrence, something that's going to happen without any reason to know. And one of the things I suspect with claircognizance is sometimes it comes from some of the other clairs, right? You may have heard something and not realized you heard it. You may have seen something, not realized you saw it. We all have dreams sometimes where we just can't remember them. I feel like sometimes we store that stuff, right? So we're pulling in this information from the universe and holding it until we need it. And then when we need it, boom, it's like, where'd that come from? I don't know where that came from. I just suddenly know this. If you receive the answer to something you were wondering about and it seems to come from nowhere, meditation is really helpful for that, right? If you're going in, if you have something that you need to get an answer to, going into meditation, and sometimes that answer is just going to drop. That claircognizance is just going to turn on and you're like, I know what the answer is. If you're a thinker, you think a lot, even sometimes to the point of overthinking things. And sometimes you may struggle with meditation if you're a very strong claircognizant, because your mind is always going, always working. Songwriters, authors, people like that tend to be very claircognizant. That brain is just always, always going. You have a hard time sleeping at night because, again, that brain's always going. That claircognizance is always at work, and your ideas are just dropping in like crazy. Sometimes you find yourself interrupting people. You got to apologize for it, but things are popping in so fast that you're trying to get them out. You're trying to get them out. You almost always receive answers. If you're confident that you're going to receive an answer to a question, you know it's going to happen because it always happens for you. Sometimes it may be days, it may be weeks. I've had stuff pop up years, but you know it's going to come at some point. Messages drop in randomly out of the blue that turn out to be right. So you just all of a sudden feel something, you all of a sudden know something. You may wake up in the morning knowing something. You may be in the shower and all of a sudden something just drops in your head and you know it. And on that note, you tend to use the words I know very often in conversation. Okay. Diana, anything else?
No, not on claircognizance. Yeah. I was just going to say that I always, on this one, my husband, although he would never really follow my work necessarily or come to classes or something, he's always been like that, claircognizance. He just come out with blah, 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 and we're like, how did you know that?
Where did that come from?
He'll say what, the next thing that's going to happen on the movie, and he's almost always right, And
used to do that all the time. We used to always play the
Yeah.
Trivial Pursuit, and I used to swear he had all the cards memorized because every
that's
random fact in the world.
Random fact, got it. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
got random fact. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Is your husband a physician?
Yeah.
Dana? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I couldn't figure that maybe that's helpful in this line of work because, like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
yeah,
So much you have to memorize.
yeah.
And Josie, you brought up a really good point too. You do tend to find that, these strengths, you can kind of see what you liked a lot as a child, what you did as a child, what you gravitated to as an adult. If you're somebody who does a lot of thinking, that claircognizance is something that may be one of your stronger. I think that's one of your stronger ones, Josie, right?
I think it's clairsentience.
Clairsentience?
Yeah.
Well, that's the one we're heading to next. That's my strongest. Clairsentience, clear feeling. Sentient is Latin for feeling, and we know clair is French for clear, right? It's about feeling the vibrations of others, of spirit, of animals, of places. It's basically about feeling energy. You can feel people's thoughts. You can feel emotions. Strong clairsentients tend to be healers. Clairsentience is about feeling with the whole body. So your body becomes a tool. So you're translating your telepathic messages, but you're translating them with your body. You're highly sensitive to surroundings. You can easily pick up on the vibe of a place or person. Have you ever walked into a room and just known somebody was just arguing? There's a couple sitting there and you look at them and you know right away that they were just fighting. There's that energy that's palpable. If you go to a place where there's a large crowd, sometimes you have unexplainable physical or emotional reactions. So a lot of times very strong clairsentients don't like to be in crowds for a really long time. And that can happen with all of the clairs too, especially if you're not aware that you have them, right? If you're very clairaudient, noise may drive you crazy. I hate it when my air conditioner is running because I can't clearly hear. If you're around people, visit their homes. Again, your own emotions may start to change. Very similar to empaths. So clairsentient is very similar to being an empath, right? You can pick up on that energy. You can empathize with others easily, right? You can feel when they're telling you something, you can actually feel their emotions. Feel the presence of spirit. If you've ever felt like somebody just brushes your hair, or if you feel like somebody comes up and puts a hand on your shoulder, even to the point now Diana will get pinches. I think it's Jesus who likes to pinch you on the ring finger, right? When Jesus is there, you get
Yeah.
the prick on your ring finger.
On the right
Again,
hand.
yeah. So we will get physical feelings as mediums, as psychics. We get physical feelings to represent certain things. I can easily feel if I walk into somebody who's very worried, I will feel that in a certain spot in my body. I know that's my. So when Diana was talking about metaphors, right? That's almost the same thing, except it's a physical metaphor. As soon as I feel that, I know that spirit's trying to tell me that somebody's very worried about something.
Maybe we could ask them for a minute how many of you have a physical sensation. So, like when something's happening, you have a pinch or you have a tap or there's some. Do you already have some way that you identify yourself as clairsentient, or you feel other people's emotion?
Darlene, you're on mute, hon.
This is Sherry. I'm constantly picking up on people's energy, emotion. I comment on it. I was just in 2 doctors' offices today, and I commented to them about how much I like going into their offices because the energy is just so positive. There, you do not pick up on that things are, that there's toxicity or just, strife or disagreements. It's very healing just to be in those
Right.
in their presence, and I'll talk about it.
Nice. Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
probably strong clairsentience too, because sometimes you will find that, right? That there are certain people that will actually just talking to them, just being in their space will transfer that calming to you.
Yeah, I can attest to that as well. Like sometimes like when you talk to somebody, you can feel that sort of energy. So you can tell like, this is a really good person to like be around. And
Mhm.
you feel like that kind of attraction to them, like you want to like get to know them better and everything. And then like I noticed, and I have some in my family too, like when you're near them, it feels like you just want to get away from them. Like there's like something so negative with them, you just want to get out of there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's your clairsentience. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Darlene, did you have something you wanted to say? I think you were talking, but you were still on mute.
Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Unmute. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I just said that I don't have this one at all. I have the cognizance, I think,
The
but not
knowing.
this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll notice it developing like more and more as you do
Right.
this work. You'll notice you're becoming the noticer. You're becoming, as I always say, like the observer
different-
of your true self. So you
Yeah.
begin to notice, little by little, your spirit guides work with you. So there are pieces of these things waking up. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I said it's a blueprint, right? We all have pieces of them. You're just going to find you naturally migrate to 1 or 2 of them. And the rest of them will come in as you progress on this journey. So, clairalience, clear smelling. Have you ever just been walking around and suddenly smelled perfume or suddenly smelled I don't know, bread, a cigar,
Yeah.
something like that? That's
Smoking.
I think clairalience is kind of related to clairsentience because it's about that more feeling the energy, smelling it. But that's why I said the first 4 that we looked at I think are the major ones. Anybody had a smelling experience where you smelled something that you shouldn't smell out of the blue?
Oh yeah.
I'm driving down
Yeah.
in the car and smelled flowers, and I'm looking around for a flower store, going, okay, where's the flower store? Where's
Yeah, I
Yeah,
something
I've
like
had that
very
too.
I had
often,
that
but
a couple at work actually recently. I had some, like I was walking in and all of a sudden I was like smelling this like really pumpkin fragrance out of nowhere
Mm-hmm.
in my office. I was just like, well, nobody was like, there was like no air freshener or anything like that. So I don't know where it was coming from, but it smelled really good. Yeah.
Remind you of anyone, like anyone in your family that passed away? Sometimes that will be an explanation.
I mean, I don't think the people like who in my family who passed away have anything to do with pumpkin. I don't see any connection, but
There could be, and it may come to you a little later on too. Like I had a young uncle that came across early on, and I would smell bubble gum whenever he was around. So, there are certain things that eventually you can figure out what they mean.
I would always smell cigarette smoke, and it was my Uncle Bob. He was a heavy smoker.
And clairgustance, same thing, clear tasting. So it's when you all of a sudden start tasting something. And a lot of times those two are going to go together. Your clairalience and your clairgustance, you may smell and taste something at the same time, because just like with our physical senses, they very much go together, right? They kind of go hand in hand. But again, like Diana was saying before, you will find that as you progress on this journey, your other senses will develop. And there are exercises that we can do, and we'll look at some of them throughout these classes. I'm sure that to help strengthen some of them. But you'll find that you automatically gravitate towards a couple, and those are kind of the way that you know that's your strength. But again, it's just a matter of opening up to the rest of them, and as you go, you will start getting. So Darlene, the clairsentience, the feelings, as you start opening a little more, you may start getting some of that. You may catch a touch in the hair. Sometimes some of this stuff has been happening all along, and you're just so used to it that you're not
Yeah.
paying attention to it. You're kind of brushing it away. So let us. What's that?
Discussion of what they received in the.
That's what I was. Yep. So let's go back to the meditation and have a discussion about what you got in your meditation, and see if we can talk about how it relates to your clairs. So Linda, you are right next to me. Want to go first?
Yeah. So I really like the discussions on the clairs right now. That was very informative, and I think that there was a lot of what you said. I said, "Oh, I've done that. That's happened." So,
It's me. I got that.
So out of the meditation, I didn't get a ton, but what the message that I received was that I am safe to move ahead. You will be safe if you move ahead.
Is that on the ribbon?
Yeah.
It was on the ribbon. So clairvoyance.
So did anybody like almost hear the waves crashing on the shore, or?
Linda says she's got that too. Did you hear the waves?
Mhm.
Feeling the sand under your toes. Did anybody feel the sand?
Yeah, I definitely did.
So now, Darlene, that's clairsentience. So you do have it.
Yeah.
What
It
did you
was-
have on your feet? Go ahead, Sherry.
I had mom's purple sandals on my feet.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. What I felt more was like, I guess the best, I'm having a hard time figuring out words to describe. It was like, as the waves come in, it was like a bass, and and kind of like feeling it reverberate. If that's the best way I can describe the feelings the sensations I was feeling. So I guess I was feeling the vibration of the waves pounding.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and again, that's strong clairsentience, right?
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, I see, I hear, and I feel, so I think that the work that I did, I know, I think it helped round out those,
Tuning in.
the tuning in. Yeah.
One of the things you'll find, and Darlene, this may be helpful for you too, is that, how we said that there are physical senses, right? In order to help these spiritual senses unfold, if you start paying attention to your physical senses, how many times you're driving the same route to work and you're not paying any attention to what you see,
Mhm.
right? So actually paying attention to what you see. Paying attention to, we were talking about the scent, right? Paying attention to what you smell. Sometimes even when we're doing breathing, we're so busy concentrating on our breathing and meditation that we're not relaxing enough to really let ourselves smell, right? Or taste. So really kind of working on the music that Diana was talking about. Sometimes when you're sitting quietly, imagine that song playing, or listen to what's actually happening in your background, and that will help you. So Darlene, what did you get?
Okay, so I really could, which really surprises me, I could envision what she was saying. I saw it all.
Hey.
It was amazing. And I have to say, so now, like every single night when I go to bed and I shut my eyes, my father appears. Okay. But when we were doing this, I not only saw my father, I saw my mother, who I never can close my eyes. I can't even think, like make myself see her, and my sister, and of course Danielle was there a lot.
I'm so glad.
And,
I'm so glad.
and some nights when I think about, okay, I can see Dad, why can't I see Danielle? And I can't even remember what she looks like to bring her on. But yet tonight I saw her clear.
So right? That you didn't need to actually visualize that she was, that energy that was her was there. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
They know on the other side that we're doing this work.
Yes.
Today, that you put yourself in this class, so sometimes your departed loved ones or somebody will show up.
And if you can join some of those development circles too, Darlene, that we have a bunch of development circles, but if you start making a regular schedule, even if you do it yourself, right, with your meditation, but if you make sure that you make it a regular thing, then it's going to happen even easier for you.
Okay,
Did
great.
anybody else get words on the ribbon?
I had love, and I could see it.
Love.
And
Beautiful.
the ribbon was very long.
Now I said, my ribbon said, and just as you were telling this, Diana, an airplane went over my house.
Oh,
So it wasn't a bird, it was a plane. And mine
yeah.
was a yellow ribbon with orange on it, but I saw Mom and Love. So Darlene,
Oh,
I don't know if
wow.
that might have been your daughter too coming across because I was like, that was just so, and again, it was the yellow. So you going to that yellow door was kind of neat.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's cool.
And
Yep.
Sherry, what did you see?
When the waves revealed words, the first one was grace, laughter, love, soothe, and strength. An osprey, which I took to being Doug, the word in red was perseverance. I really wasn't able to visualize who the spirit guide was until I invited the spirit guide to sit down with me when they were about to leave, and it was Sue.
Ah,
This is
Awesome.
the first time I've had Sue appear.
yay.
And most of the time she just sat there smiling at me, kind of like nodding your head, like knowing.
She
And
was my sister, for those of you who don't.
Oh, yeah.
Just passed away not too
Just
long
passed
ago.
away on November 24th.
so, and telepathically, she said, I know that we didn't get much of a chance to get to know each other before I died, but I am going to be with you. And so I know that Sue's going to be a big part of my team.
Beautiful.
And yeah. So.
All right. Anybody else have anything they want to share? No.
I did have one thing I wanted to share is the clairsentience, I think, is really pretty developed. What with having the diagnosis of fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, I have had to learn how to listen to my body and all the nuances. And I believe that I am dealing with a post-COVID-19 syndrome of fatigue, like my chronic fatigue would feel like it's muscle deep. This is feeling bone marrow deep. And I'm having trouble balancing and many times overdoing, like I did, initially with the fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. So, but I think that that actually became a very essential survival skill that I needed so that I could live and work full time and all of that, because most people, who told me that they had those diagnoses, like, I'm on disability, and I know that for a while people were pushing me to go on it and I wouldn't. And a big thing is really listening to my body.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And that's really an important thing as a clairsentient, right? Listening,
Yeah.
making sure that you clear, you meditate, and do that. And meditation is important for all of this.
Yeah,
All of this.
I know that I
Quiet.
will benefit doing it more. I haven't really established it.
Right.
Now that Roxy is been rehomed, I'm going to have a lot more time to be able to devote to that and, helping myself.
It doesn't have to be a tough one, right? Just
No,
a couple minutes
that-
quiet time a day, just so you get yourself together and heal. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So
Diana.
we'll do my little section here.
Mhm.
The process of connecting or opening the door. Okay. This will come with homework because we've got it on our Google Drive. So I'll definitely share the handouts with you. Okay, so it doesn't want to share. See what happens here. Allow Zoom to share screen. That's why. Okay, I went over to Google Chrome. So let me open it on the other. I think. Okay, so
Do you need me to help?
yeah, maybe if you want to pull up the Claire's PowerPoint
The
and,
one on it. Yeah. Okay.
on the drive. I've got it open and I just went over to Chrome to try to, as you know, Renee, to try to solve some problems. So
Yep. Hang on 1 second. I'm getting it up right now. Let me just get through the slides here. Okay, and let me just find my share button. Here you go.
okay, thank you so much.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
so this process of a reading is from my teacher and all of my learning at the Fellowships of the Spirit in Lilydale, New York, School for Healing and Prophecy, where I finished in 2005, I think. 2005, 2006. So, no. A little later than that. No, that's right. 2004, 2005. Yeah, 2002 to 2004 is when I went to school. And so the idea of the visual of opening the door, that if you're somebody who, it always kind of annoyed me a little bit when people would say to me, oh, I can't go to that. I can't go. So my husband does all the shopping. I can't go to Walmart. I can't or whatever, because I'm so wide open and I feel everything. And from my point of view, I guess I came from the other, I was not open very much. I had to learn how to open the door.
Right.
So people who are wide open have to learn how to shut down a bit. And so the prayer states the intention for a message for your client to consider, is the words we would use if we were practicing your, for the practice, the person you're reading is your sitter. So that's the spiritualist language. Affirms that you are open and ready to receive. So there may be like a visualization of a door opening, sometimes curtains opening. It may just be shown to you how you're going to start. You may already have a process that, when you're about to do a reading, if you're in development circle, you're getting something that, and so it has to have those parts in it. Okay, acknowledges and thanks your source for assisting you. It protects the space you're working in at the same time. Why protecting the space? Because, does anybody want to address that? Do you have an answer for me? Not Renee.
Okay, fine.
Why would we want to protect the space? I know you know the answer. I just want to get people to be thinking about that. Thoughts? There's negative energies out there, and what we are learning is the very best possible. We're working for the highest good. We're only asking for the highest and best to come in. You could change the slide, I guess. So there are there are kind of lower realms, etc., and we're not opening to that. We're not. Okay, so it's very important to learn how to do this the right way, because sometimes somebody might just start with a Ouija board on their own, which my teacher would always say I wouldn't touch one with a 10-foot pole. You can't control what's coming through. They start with the Ouija board because they don't really believe this stuff is real, and then all of a sudden their house is infected with nasty stuff and bumps in the night, and they don't know what they've let in to the house. So the whole idea of protection is a biggie. And in the next class, I have a lot of different protection prayers that quite often I end up having to use. Now this is or use for a client. I mean, sometimes there's a client calling with a concern. And I have to tell them how to protect themselves. Almost always in the beginning, you have to tell somebody how do you protect your space? How do you reinforce that aura of energy around you, right from the beginning? Even if you're doing readings for yourself, that's why every guided meditation I do starts with, almost always, breathing in white light, breathing out white light, reinforcing the aura around you. So you can tell somebody who's authentic, who knows what they're doing, somewhere in there's going to be, whether you're aware of it or not, you are reinforcing the energy of protection around you, that egg-shaped shield around you, somewhere in there. It's kind of important because, you don't want people walking away from, or somebody's having a seance and they don't know what they're doing and they haven't protected the space. And all of a sudden somebody's like, they've extremely depressed, etc. Okay, so this is just my teacher Elaine Thomas's prayer. She told us that this is a story. She said she has a client or a client or one of her students actually who was flying in an airplane and just by habit protecting her own space, protecting her protecting her seat. This is for opening a reading, so the protection I talk about in the meditation course actually. So we're the meditation course that I teach. So oh God, we thank you, for we know that we are filled and surrounded with the light and love of the divine, and only the highest and best comes to us and touches us. Amen. We're not letting anything else is bouncing off that shield. It's bouncing right off. Okay, I reinforce just by breathing in and breathing out white light. And so she told us that her student protected the space, protected her seat and everything on the airplane, changed planes, got on her next airplane, landed in Florida. And when she got to her hotel room, there was all this news breaking loose of plane crash. And the students, the only person who survived in the plane crash was just one seat. And she's following what flight number. It was her flight number. It was the airplane she had gotten off. The only survivor was the one who was sitting in the seat that she had given up, A2, whatever, And so after I heard that, she was like, "Oh my God," and it was her airplane. And she said, "I don't know why didn't I just protect the whole plane? why didn't I just protect the whole plane? So so now whenever we get on the airplane, I do that. I protect. I breathe in white light, connect to source energy, and have it go around all the entire airplane. And every airplane in the sky while we're at it. So, because I know the power of it. Okay, so for this, using that, manipulating the energy, source energy, she taught us to kind of use the energy that with the words, your love, truth, wisdom, and understanding in the highest, you're making kind of a triangle shaped. I guess I end up making. So I'm putting in my mind's eye, even if it's over the phone, with the reading, I immediately will say, I'm putting a point of light behind them with the word love. I'm putting um, a point of light to our left, because I'm making a circle around us. So it's a sacred circle around me and the person I'm reading for. Truth, wisdom behind me, and understanding over here, and in the highest, kind of completing. I guess it ends up, for me, in my mind, I'm making four. But she said the triangle, because the triangle is sacred. Three, the power of three, in so many different ways. Father, Son, Holy Ghost. I mean, how many powers of three are there out there? A million. The power of three. So that's the way I do it. Okay, you can continue on. So I remember sharing with my sister Sue, and she said, "Oh my gosh, that's so complicated. Why do you that? I don't pray. I don't pray." And I said, "Oh wait, I guess I do. I set my intention." So she sets her intention with this little prayer. Mother, Father, God, please allow me to see those insights and visions that will assist us in living a happy and productive life. Protect us and guide us so that we may better serve the highest good of all. And that's so you want to kind of write your own prayer. Renee, do you have a prayer that you say when you start?
I do. I usually just go in with it with intention. I did when I first started out. I used a prayer of protection continually. But now it's kind of like what I talked about in my prayer class, right? There's always just kind of this unspoken energy, so I know that I'm stepping into that and I'm
Oh, you're
embracing that. But
feeling
again, in the
that
beginning, I
attachment.
always did. I always
Yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah. And I know Loretta would say, well, I seem to always ask for my mom and dad, so it's like,
Yeah.
mom, dad, and her relatives, please help me. She would ask, could you help me with this? As I connect, she's sort of connecting to their energy in a way.
Yeah.
But
And that's
everybody,
it. And sometimes, as you get real familiar with it, sometimes you're going to, right? It's like that feeling of gratitude that you can just feel, right? You don't have to voice. So what happens with me is I know that I can step into that at any given point. And it is a prayer. It's just not the traditional, that
you're making your connection in
it's
whatever way.
setting the intention.
I
Yeah.
want
It's
you
the
to
intention that's the most important thing. Yeah.
that you're purposely opening the door right now. I am
Hmm.
not open. If I'm going to go to a bar to have a drink, I don't want to be open and feel this guy's misery and be drawn into so and so's argument over there. Thank you very much. I'm here for a lovely drink. I don't want to feel I'm off duty. So there's a very to set the intention. You can go to the next slide, I guess. So that process, you set your intention in whatever way you do it. Just the first words were set your intention,
Yeah.
opening the door. And so you can have your own routine, what feels right to you, but it's good to have a routine. So like you're not caught off guard. Sue used to say, we'd be riding in the car and she'd say, I think I'm picking up on our nephew Corey. How do you think he passed away? I was like, what? What? Right now? Oh, wait, but I have to do my process. No, I don't. So she would train me to like, you can be open when you want to be open.
Yeah.
And just like what's right there right now. Thank you. I'm open and we're ready to receive. It might be as little as that. Thank you. I'm open and ready to receive now. Picturing a door open, picturing the curtain open. It's curtain on a stage sometimes will appear to me spontaneously. So it's like, okay, we're on stage, we're ready to open. And if you do, if you find yourself, like, oh man, I want to get a message for so and so, but I don't think I can do this. I really can't do this, and I'm just so stupid. I'm sure I'm not as good as so and so sitting over there, and all of a sudden you notice, like, wow, that's a lot of negative self-talk again. You're the observer. Become the observer. What can I do? Have music playing in the background. Let me tune into the music to get out of my head. Let me tune into that breathing pattern that I did earlier. Let me tune into the mantra. As we were doing before, we just did 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And if you've ever been in a meditation class of any kind or just any of the online, I have a million different mantras that, you can use, and you'll find something that will feel right to, oh wow, I'm really in my head. Okay. Yeah, so all of those things, rubbing your fingers together gets you out of your head pretty fast. You notice that's what I say when it's time to snap you out of a
Can also
meditation
help
and
ground
get
you.
back
Yeah.
here. We're here again. Rub your fingers together. It'll get you, out of, the
Exactly. And that's what you're going to find is going to be your biggest enemy in this. The harder that you're trying to force yourself, the more worry you get, and the more you start panicking, and the more you can just relax, the easier it's going to drop in.
Okay. And then next side, what is our next process? Let go. I like that thing with the birds, because it's almost as if we're trying to learn to get out of that cage. We think things are supposed to be done in a certain way. Well, in order to get an A on the paper,
Yeah.
it's supposed to answer this question and do this process and do this process, do this process. And like, oh wait, I didn't do all my processes. But
Exactly.
you don't know. You're kind of making up a process as you go along. That's a fun thing. Okay, trust. So you put it out, you let those birds out of the cage, and boom, something comes right back. It's that fast. So you trust the first thing that you get. And we were just talking that it may arrive as an image or a symbol or a
Feeling
feeling. Oh, feeling really happy. We're
or
going to do,
smell.
yeah, or a smell, or a sound. Like, isn't that funny? As soon as I asked, there was a bell ringing. Isn't that
Yeah.
What does that mean? I don't know. So you can ask, what's the meaning? Give me some more. And then don't be surprised. It's going to be coming from your own. Bells ringing, sleigh bells, sleigh bells, sleigh bells. Joy, 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 fun, fun, fun. Lightness of being, whatever it is for you. Okay, that symbol or whatever, we'll talk more about symbols, but what does that symbol mean to you? And you're going to have a feeling and a knowing, without. Okay, and then as you're asking, you're having a little conversation. What is that? Why did I get bells right there? What they are ringing. They're shaking like mad. Oh, I think there's somebody in spirit trying to come through. Who is it? Okay, so then you ask, okay, what are those bells? So is that my sign of somebody in spirit trying to there's a message trying to come through. What's the message? Okay, so you can continue through there. Thanks. Always a thanks. You've got people, you got your peeps working with you like mad. Oh man. And so even if you're not sure who helped you with that, and you're not, I don't know, like maybe it was that spirit guide that I saw walk up to me on the beach. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was somebody else. I feel like I've had an angel around me. I don't know. But hey, thank you. Thank you. Okay, because just like you want to be thanked when you do something really great. All right, you don't want to constantly. So thanking is part of the process. And then may I leave that with you once you say, well, I picked up a heart. The heart had wings. You are free. You are free. You are free. May I leave that with you? That's all it may be.
Has anybody ever said no?
No.
Good.
Yeah, I don't think so. Um,
No, you can't leave that. You must keep it.
yeah. You'll remember what you need to remember for your personal growth, but it's like you want to divest yourself of the energy of that reading.
Yeah.
It's that person's, right? Anything else need to be said? Just quite often I'm being led as we're teaching. We're both being led. So just like in the guided meditation today, I was led. Now it can be kind of second nature to I'm a partner with the divine, my guides. I've got a Native American Indian who quite often will come in there. Lately, sometimes Sylvia Brown will pop in. She just popped in just
Let's
this
Sylvia
second.
do it.
Hello, I'm here. And so I'm like, thank you, especially as I think she's coming in as teacher, and definitely Sue, she's a real good teacher.
Yes, yes.
So yeah,
The one thing I can say that is the most important, I think, is the relax and enjoy. It's not about being stressed out. It's not about trying to force yourself into a box. So the more you relax, the easier it becomes. Easier it becomes. And I actually have a story. One of the first readings I had to do, I couldn't get anything. I wasn't seeing, I wasn't hearing, so I flipped into automatic writing, which is something I do. And I was reading for this girl as a practice, and I got, you need to stop being a medium. And of course, this is in the very beginning. So I was like, oh my God, they're trying to tell me I really suck at this. I'm not meant to do this. What am I going to do? So when it was time for me to do the girls' reading, I'm like, I didn't get anything. I really didn't. My guides are picking on me. I don't know what's going on. Well, then the girl told me what her question, because we'd all come up with questions, and we were getting messages, and her question had related to her job, and she was actually, this was in a mentorship program, so she was actually a psychic medium also. So actually, the message had been for her, and it was for her to stop, to shut down, to close that door when she was at work. But my first reaction was, oh my God, they're picking on me. I'm not getting anything. They're telling me I'm really bad at this. And it turned out to be a very spot on message. So again, trusting, like Diana said, right? Trusting that Spirit wants you to do this. They want to help. They want to help you try and get a message.
you guys, let's practice for a little bit. We were counting on ending at 7:30. I hope that's not a problem. Is that okay? I think some places it's at 7:30 and some it's.
Sorry.
We just wanted
Sure, I'm
to
going to
do
mute
one
you real
exercise.
quick,
Is that a
Sherry.
problem for anybody?
Does everybody have to leave?
Nope.
Okay. So just Renee's going to lead us in a process, and she'll use her process, yeah. And then just a process, so we're kind of practicing together the first time. You will again, very soon do your own process. So you could decide to make that homework is, I'm going to write something that will be good opening words for opening to someone, and have that be yours, okay? If you haven't already done that.
So one of the things that I have found, and remember I said we're not going to be doing readings for anybody else today, but one of the things that I have found is very easy for me. And again, a visual that wasn't a very strong thing. Clairvoyance wasn't very strong for me in the beginning. Now it's come in for me much better as I've gone on through the years. But one of the things that I found very helpful was trying to do picture readings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a picture with you, and this is a picture of a house, a location. What I want you to do is we're going to take a couple minutes. We're going to just take a couple of deep breaths. We're going to look at the picture, and I want you just to jot down whatever comes into your head. So again, like I talked about with Diana's meditation, if it's a color, if it's a feeling, if you start to get cold, if you smell something, if you hear something, whatever it is that comes across, nothing is, we've got a nice small group here. Nobody's going to, make fun of you or pick on you. Whatever it is, if it seems totally outrageous, write it down anyway. Okay. And I'll give you a couple minutes.
Should we play a little music to get into that nice relax? And remember, all you really need to do to recreate,
Yep.
Relaxed state is
Yep, I don't think we need the music. I think we're just going to take a couple of deep breaths, and we're going to look. And again, remember, the fun thing with pictures is you can look at the picture, right? Is there something in the corner that's jumping out at you? And as you start to unfold, you may come up with a story. So whatever you get, all right? And we'll take a couple of deep breaths after I share this screen, and we'll just. And Diana, you can do this too, because you have no idea. So let's take a couple of slow, deep breaths. Ready? Inhale, exhale. And just relax. Inhale. Exhale. And just look at the picture. Kind of like we did the doors earlier for you girls who were here. What do you see? What do you feel? Do you see something happening in a window? Do you see something in the scenery? Do you feel something physically? Taste something? Do you smell something? Everybody just give me a thumbs up when you think you've gotten all you can get from it, okay? No. And got Josie. You guys are seeing the picture, right? I'm not. Okay. My other screen went white, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't just giving you. Josie's good. Linda, how you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Darlene?
Yeah.
And we know Josie is. Sherry, how are you? I've got you on mute, so I can't hear you. Give me a thumbs up. Thumbs down. I can't see your thumb either. Diana, are you good?
And so I'm trying to spirit what there is about the image. So I'm doing it a little differently than you are, so I guess. So yeah.
Okay.
Because the problem is that you know your logic goes in there and goes, oh, it must be this
Yeah.
old. The
Yeah.
house must be this old. It must be, you know what I mean? And so I'm trying to get away from logic and just say, Spirit, tell me what you want me to know.
Again, one of the benefits of that picture is that amazingly, I've done it with people before too, where just a shadow in a place, a light coming in, and all of a sudden you can kind of wind and go with it, and it's kind of amazing. And it's really neat when you end up actually making hits or getting hits. I don't know if you make hits. I guess you get hits. All right, Miss Josie, I think I saw your thumb up first. So while Diana's still touching base with her guides here, why don't you go ahead and tell me what you picked up from it?
So I felt like there was a family of 4, and it looked like it was in Britain, somewhere in Britain. And the last thing I got is like it's haunted.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what that was coming. It's somehow there's some kind of hauntings or something.
Okay.
So maybe, yeah.
Okay, Sherry.
First thing I felt was a very sense of calm and serene. I had a sense of smelling fresh cut grass and lilacs. I thought it was in a French country home, maybe a farm, but then I saw the American flag, but nope, it's an American living in France.
I did the same.
And then I kept seeing something, and so I zoomed in, and I saw a little girl in the window, but it's very possible that it was a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
After what Josie said, so
maybe. And that helps with when we do the group stuff too. Darlene, what'd you get?
Well, I was really struggling with it, trying to get something. But did you make a thing? Like I kept seeing this white thing hop from different places. Was that you? Did you have any? I mean, like, could you make that picture? Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like your mouth or something.
No, I could
Okay.
not. I could not make the picture jump.
All
So
right.
you were having some clairvoyance there, my darling.
Yep,
Yes.
I saw this, and it would go to different spots, and I'm like, I must be imagining it, or
Well,
they're
her
doing
mouse-
something.
Was your mouse moving over the picture, Renee?
Nope.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't believe so. No. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. I don't think so. No. And again, what is something funny, Darlene? Something really funny about this work is that sometimes the stuff that seems really obvious has a meaning to it too. If I'm doing a reading and something all of a sudden starts happening, like with the airplane going over, right as Diana was
Right.
talking about the bird, it, very often it does have a meaning. So second
Hmm.
guessing, the more you can let go of the second guessing and go, yeah, what the you know what? What the you know what? I'm doing it anyway. All right. And did you get anything else, Darlene?
No, but I forgot to say that I thought that little white light was a bird because it started out in the tree.
Okay.
So and then it went to the roof and a couple
Mhm.
other little spots.
Okay. Okay. Linda, what'd you get?
It was a warm house, but I felt like the house had a lot of character and a lot of stories to tell. And I'm not sure what the stories are. I didn't get that deep, but that's what it felt like to me.
Okay. Okay. Diana, what'd you end up with?
Well, I said I was like, oh, that's a house in France, and then I saw the flag, and it seemed like the flag was waving. I had to keep looking back at the flag again. It felt like the flag was waving. It's like, no, it's not.
So yours was like Darlene. You were seeing get a little bit of.
Yeah, some movement, a little movement. Just as I close my eyes to say, give me a little about this house or this family. Children, like lots of children, babies, a woman in a long skirt, with her hair pulled back and apron, and hard work, tedious, 1700s. And at first I wrote Civil War, and I was like, oh wait, I think it's even Revolution. So I don't know, the
Okay.
Revolution, it would be 1776 or something. And I felt like the woman in the house, maybe it's just one part of the house, was a widow. And like she and her sister or something were trying, or an aunt or somebody was trying to raise the children. Lots of hard work and tedious work, water pumping, pumping water, and growing the garden and feeding the chickens, all that
That
stuff.
was good. Yep. Okay. Now, let me just ask all of you one question. Did anybody get any feeling? So you didn't know what was coming up on the screen. As soon as the picture came up, did you get any feeling from it?
I did. I felt very calm and serene.
Okay. Okay.
And I also and I felt the connection with my home in Skinevas,
Okay.
because it's old.
Okay. Okay. Josie, did any feeling come across you?
Yeah, so the how I came up with the prediction was through the feelings. Like I feel like, about the family. Like there was a family living there,
Okay.
and then I was feeling like England sometime, like as
Okay.
Diana said, sometime in the more
Okay.
ancient times. Yeah.
Anybody else? All right. I'm going to share my screen one more time. So,
It's a little spooky.
Yeah, me too. That's what I got.
Yeah.
well, okay.
fun.
Now you all win. But I think Josie wins the prize for today. Can you guys see my screen again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is a different angle from it. This is a sign from it. It's called the Ancient Ram Inn.
Oh wow.
From the 10th century. It was built in 1145, and it is in England, Josie. You win. Although
Oh, okay.
Diana, France was pretty close. I'm not sure why I did not really. I didn't even hit me that it had an American flag, and that was kind of cheating and putting you guys in the wrong direction. But and this is actually another angle of it. Which isn't quite as pleasant. It is actually thought to be. It's in Watton under Edge, and it's in Gloucester, England, and it's talked about as being one of the most haunted hotels in the country. So Josie, you got that again. But it was built in 1145, and then at some point it housed stonemasons and slaves who were building a St. Mary's church that was right nearby. And it was actually said to have been built on a pagan burial ground, but it actually sits on ley lines from Stonehenge. So the energy from it, I think, is actually what everybody has always picked up on because it's very, very old and it actually sits on ley lines. Plus, they actually rerouted a stream or something that was at St. Mary's. And it actually wasn't talked about being haunted until the last man who bought it. The last man who bought it in 1968 for 2,600 pounds, so probably about $3,500. But because it was a historic building, because it's been around for so long, they did want to keep it going. And one of the things that he did was come up with all of these stories. So some of the ghost shows and stuff have actually done stuff from it. But I think actually, Sherry, you're much more right. I think when I started researching this and realized that there can't say it on ley lines, I went, oh, that explains all of it. It's the energy that people have picked up on, right, from a house that's actually that old. So yeah, Josie, I think you win the prize for today because you
Okay.
got the country. I don't know about the family of 4. I know the last family that bought it. So at one point it was used to house the stonemasons, and then they used it to house the priests from St. Mary's. And then it became an inn. So it was actually an inn. And in 1968, they stopped using it as an inn, and the guy who bought it moved in with his wife and I thought 2 daughters, but there may have been three daughters. So there may have been 4 of them living there, Josie. Although they ended up leaving, they got divorced and they left. But the daughter, he died in 2017, I think, and then his daughter actually got the house since. And they said she opens it up for archaeologists because it is so old that there really is a lot of history behind it. But I was so excited when I saw the ley lines for Stonehenge. I was like, wow, that's pretty neat. I don't know that I'd want to spend the night there, but I think that there's a lot of energy to it. So.
Well, I also think that's a good example of that you want to go right to logic. That's why I don't like showing a picture like that. But I do a lot of games where you don't know what's in the envelope. That's what I thought you were going to do. I don't know why I thought you were going to do that, but
because we talked about that. But then I said, you know what? Because the thing with the pictures is it's nice because it gives you that opportunity to realize that there is kind of a story there. And a lot of times, so Darlene, you saw a movement. Diana, you saw a movement. A lot of times that story is really playing out right in front of you. What you have to do is suspend disbelief. So even if it sounds something really, really crazy, you just got to kind of go with it. But I find pictures really nice because, like I said, sometimes there's a bug that comes into the lens, or there's a one side of the face has a shadow over it. And you can really, just like you do with tarot cards, you can really just kind of go, okay, what is this saying to me? And you can get your message that way. So that's why we went with a picture instead of totally blind.
Yeah, the flag just, it was like really, it's like,
I didn't realize that flag was in there. I know I probably would have found another picture.
I thought, I was like, oh, that's an old.
And you were pretty close. Yeah, France was pretty close too. Yeah. Yes, because you even said 1,000 years, and I was like, yeah, she's got the old thing. The
oldest we got in the U.S. is like Revolutionary War. It's got to be a Revolutionary War house. That was just logic.
Yes. Oh, Diana's mad because it was cheating. I put that flag there just for Diana.
Yeah, no, I don't like to do. I like to just like see what spirit tells you rather than. So the picture did. That's just, it's a good example of. I had a young man come in for a reading. He had long hair and sandals and shorts and big beard and looking at him, I would have thought he was a troublemaker or whatever. And so I just had to kind of close my eyes and shut it all out. I had to close my eyes and shut it all out. That was when I was doing readings in Delhi. And so I closed my eyes, I'd start my prayer, open the door purposely. What are you going to tell me? And Jesus stepped into the reading. 4 or 5 symbols. The that poster of the footprints in the sand, a whole image of Jesus, and I was like, well, I don't know, I don't know if you're a Christian or something, because I was like, I'm not
You're right.
But Jesus just stepped into our reading, and I didn't hear anything. I wasn't. He said something, but I didn't know what he said. And before I know, and I just kept going, and before I know, he's in tears, and he's sobbing, and he said, "I I prayed to Jesus yesterday. Who would have guessed? I prayed to Jesus yesterday that if this was real, that Jesus would show up in the reading and give me guidance because he wanted to go on a mission to Africa or something, which his mother didn't want him to do, but he felt very strongly that he could do this by himself. He was only 21 or something. And he was just like,
There you go. There you
my
go.
sign that I need to go, that it's right. It's okay for me to go on this mission, and that's the way I'm going to serve. He just felt so strongly about it
And-
that he had to buck his mom in order to do it.
And that's
So,
one of the reasons why I said, with the Claires, you got to kind of use them all, right? The more, just like I told you with the physical world, right? If you think about anything you experience in the physical world, if you're just looking at something, you may not be getting that whole experience, right? You want to jump in with everything. You want to listen, you want to feel, you want to smell, you want to open up as many of those senses as you can, because it makes the experience much more complete. Right? You're not just depending on one thing. So like Diana said, when that guy walked in, if you're just looking, you're going to get one impression, right? You need to kind of let it do a few things. You need to expand a little bit.
yeah.
Well, what
yeah.
a fun night. I enjoyed you guys.
Guys.
I
Well,
Thank you for
enjoyed it.
calling me and reminding me, Diana.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
welcome. Oh, thank goodness. Yeah. And we'll, so next week we're doing a little more with symbols. We're doing something to open those channels up a little farther.
And we'll start some
Um,
readings next
If you
week.
can, make yourself a little guided
Just
meditation
already.
every day. Like make yourself, you're gonna open a little faster and safely. There's about a bazillion on the ISD website right now because I've been doing them since the shutdown started. So you can just pick any one and say, oh, let me do this. They're only about 15, 20 minutes, and do it at the end of work when you're all verklempt, or before work if you're somebody who rises early, which I am not. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you say we have like any like homework assignments or something? Is there anything you want
Just
to
to
us?
meditate, and I'm gonna send you the handouts from today.
That's
Okay.
fine.
And I would
Meditate,
say
Josie.
I know.
meditation
Can do that.
is decide, after you look over the thing, what could be my opening? How am I going to open myself so that at the end you can close yourself, so that
Yeah.
you don't feel like you're a schizophrenic walking around picking up on everybody's. So one of the courses we talk about like specific techniques to close down when you need to. Yeah. So, all
All
right.
right. Well, it
Have a
was a
nice
pleasure,
evening.
my dears. We will see you
Bye.
same place, same time next week.
Yeah,
Yes,
we'll see you.
yes.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Darlene, do some meditations. Listen, I think she's right there waiting to talk to you. So you're.
Yeah, hers was awesome. Yeah. Great work, everybody.
Monday, I'm off. took off tomorrow and Monday. Do you want to get together on Monday
Yeah.
to set up for the next
Uh,
class? Whatever time you
Monday.
want is fine with me because like I said, I've got the day off. So you let me know. I'll send out a Zoom tomorrow.
Okay. Monday at 4?
Yep.
Is that okay?
That's
Okay,
fine.
perfect.
I will send something out. Well, maybe not tomorrow. I'll send something out before Monday.
Yeah, plan part 2. Yeah. And we're going right into the next 2 sessions too, right? Wasn't
Right.
it?
Right. So
Okay.
we might want to just keep doing
Okay.
Mondays for a while. I don't think you told me
Yeah.
that. I just saw it on the calendar and I went, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's good though because this really gets us ready, even if it's a small group.